Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Barker and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hello, and thanks for joining me today. We're going to have a short episode, but I think a really important one, so thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about how we engage with and can engage with our audiences. And there's some exciting news at the end of this episode, so it's a short one. I hope you'll listen through and provide some feedback. Actually, I would very much like to hear from you in response to what we're going to talk about today. So here's the first question, and it is a question that hopefully you have already answered for yourself. It's an important part of your publishing journey, and many times it is right at the very beginning of that journey. And that is the question, who is your audience? Now, you may have multiple books and different audience segments for each of those books, and that's totally fine. So I want you to, ideally, you should figure out your audience for each of those books that you have, right? And they may hopefully overlap, but if they don't, if you're writing, for example, science fiction and nonfiction, as a colleague of mine does, there's not really overlap that's noticeable within those two segments. So in that case, you'd want to figure out, think through for each of those segments as we're going to go through today. So again, that question is, who is your audience? Now, there are many ways to describe an audience, and the best thing to do is to describe them as fully as you can. So, since we as people are all very diverse and we have different characteristics, you might think, well, how am I going to lump everyone together? Well, you want to find those common characteristics. For example, do they fall generally into an age range? Let's say a 55 to 70 typically is where your audience falls. It's okay if there are outliers. That's always going to be the case. But you want to think, where are the bulk of your audience? Are they mostly male or female or other gender? Are they living in a local community? Maybe you are writing about your local area or something like that. So think about these questions. Who are your audience? Define them as best you can. So you're just writing down those characteristics. Okay. Now, how would you like to engage with them? And this is the key, it's the other key question that we're going to address today. How would you like to engage with your audience? Most likely, you wrote your book because you feel some connection with this particular audience. Hopefully, that's true. That would make most sense, and you'll have the most success if you actually have this feeling of connection with this group, whether you would fall into that target group or not. Okay, so since you wrote for this group and feel some connection with them, marketing is really about developing and nurturing that relationship with this group or the relationships with the individuals in this group. And of course, we want to be doing that on the bigger scale. We'll use the version of your marketing to and nurturing the relationship with that group as a whole. Okay. So I want you to take some time to just set even if it's only like 15 minutes, but set aside some time where you just turn off your distractions, turn off your phone for a moment or put it in airplane mode or do not disturb, and give yourself some solid think time, some sort of meditation time. And what I want you to do is to imagine yourself as if you are in that group, that audience group. You are in your target market. Maybe you are, which makes it even easier for you. But imagine that you are the listener of your audiobook rather than the author of your audiobook. Just try to imagine yourself listening to the audiobook that you have created. Now, as you listen, what kind of notes might you take? What kind of things might you jot down that are important to you that you are gaining from listening to the audiobook? And as you listen, what kind of bookmarks, if that were an option, what kind of bookmarks might you make? In other words, what kind of quotations might you flag? Or, places that you think, I might want to come back and listen again to that. And what would you be eager to share with your friends? In your day-to-day, as you're talking with people, what are the elements of the audiobook, or what passages, what thoughts, what ideas would you likely want to be sharing with those friends because they touched you? What would those be? And what would you want to ask the author or share with the author? What are the things that you would like to share with the author if you were just the listener and not the author? And then how would you like to engage with the author? So how would you, as the listener, like to ask those questions? How would you, or to share those thoughts that you have? What are the ways that you would like to engage with them? And to elucidate a little bit on what I mean by that, obviously we have many ways that we share with people. We meet them in person. We may share with them over a phone call, over a video call. We might meet them within the context of a meeting of some kind. We might be in a book club that they run. We might email with them back and forth in a direct communication. We may be in a forum kind of setting where we can communicate with a larger group, but by text communication. So what are some of the ways that you would like to engage with the author? And then as you wrap that up, then I want you to shift the way that you're thinking. And I want you to think for a moment of yourself. Just put yourself back in your own shoes, back to you as the author. Now imagine that this other someone has reached out to you in some way. Where do you imagine that would happen? Where do you imagine yourself finding that communication, that outreach? And how would you like to be there for that listener? How would you like to respond? What is it that they might be asking of you? And how might you respond to that request or that share? And so I want you to take this time to think about these things because, first of all, they're really important and they will help you as you move into your marketing, as you start to envision these kinds of engagements, this nurturing of the relationship that you have with each of your followers and with the followers as a whole, as a group. It will help to build that group because people are looking for connection. We all need connection. It is a part of who we are as human beings. And we need it desperately, especially these days where we're so divided in many different ways, with technology and with politics and with geographically. Even though we are communicating globally, there are so many ways in which we are often feel isolated or separate and alone. And we all thrive in community, in some form of community. Some who are more introverted are going to thrive in smaller community. And those who are more extroverted are going to thrive more, in a larger community and with just in different ways. But we still all need community. So as you go through this exercise, and I hope that you will, I want you to, if you would, take some notes, and I'd really appreciate it if you would share them with me. And here's the exciting thing I wanted to share with you and why I'm asking for you to reply to this podcast episode to me. As rolling out later this year, we are currently in development, and by about the end of October, we should be fully rolled out with the next leveling up of AMPlify Audiobooks. And there are so many exciting new features that are going to be a part of that platform that we are building right now. One of those is that as listeners are listening, they will have a place to write down these reflections, these thoughts, in a place where it can all be held together with their listening experience of the audiobook. So we're building out a web app where people will be able to listen not only on their mobile devices, but also from a computer or iPad, that sort of thing. So they'll be able to record these reflections as they're listening. There will also be a big aspect of this new upgrade is about community, about building these connections and how we can, as authors with each other, as authors and listeners as listeners and listeners who are listening to the same audiobook, many different ways that we can be sharing the experience through the platform. Again, about building community, about building these communication systems to support that relationship building. And then another of the new aspects, there will be audiobook clubs where people will actually be able to gather in real time to discuss what they are listening to and how they're feeling about that and what they've learning from that. And, as book clubs do when they get together, we're going to have that as a part of this platform built in. These are just a few of many new features that are coming later this year. So I would like to know from you, if you are an author, if you are an audiobook listener, if you have an interest in this podcast, I think that you are in this group of people that I would really love to hear from, right? What tools, as a listener, as an author, as a publisher, as a narrator, what tools would you like to have on this platform? So that's a big question, and guarantee that we can deliver on all those things, but we need to know what's important to you. What are the ways that you would like to be engaging with authors, with listeners, being able to do, if you're an author, would you like to be able to be in touch with other authors on the platform so that you can do cross-promotion kind of activities, run book clubs together, that sort of thing? As listeners, how would you like to be able to communicate with each other? Whatever comes to mind for you, what tools would you like? And then I would like you to email me. And I'd like you to send that to AC, that's for Audiobook Connection, AC@proaudiovoices.com. Okay? I am looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope that you will support our efforts with this new version of AMPlify Audiobooks, which we are so excited about. And one of the ways that I hope that you will, at this point, help us is to simply let us know what features and benefits would be of the greatest value to you. What do you imagine yourself using? Create the world in your mind with the version of communication and engagement and relationship building that you would like. And share that vision with us so we can grow AMPlify Audiobooks to be the best that it can be together. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you'll take the time, maybe listen to this episode again while with time set aside so that you can go through those questions for yourself in your own mind, and then looking forward to hearing back from you. Have a wonderful day. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be watching my email at ac@proaudiovoices.com to see your responses. Have a great day. Would you like to earn more from your audiobook sales? If you're an author with an audiobook, you may have noticed that royalties from Audible especially, and other platforms as well, are frankly kinda pathetically low, disappointingly low, and unfairly low considering what it cost you in effort and resources to create it. How is it the retailers are the ones making all the money off your work and investment? As someone who started in the audiobook industry in 1981, I've found it frustrating that authors keep getting shortchanged. The good news is that Pro Audio Voices just launched AMPlify Audiobooks, a direct sale audiobook platform for authors that puts you back in the driver's seat. Earn 65% of the gross sales price that you set. Compare that to the percentage of the percentage that retailers give. Run promotions on schedule whenever you want. Create coupon codes. Build community with your customers, since you'll know who they are and how to contact them. Work with a caring, responsive, supportive team to help you succeed all along the way. Get help with marketing. Get paid weekly. We're helping audiobook authors who are frustrated by painfully low royalties and the barriers that prevent them from managing their own products and customers. AMPlify Audiobooks is a direct sale platform that enables authors to earn much higher royalties and have way more control. We're disrupting the audiobook industry by putting authors first. Get started today at proaudiovoices.app or go to proaudiovoices.com and click on the Distribution Amplify link. Join the movement. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.